We know we're here because the mayor has proposed a shelter in our community, in our board. So we're here for this town hall to talk, to have a conversation, and I know there's a lot of questions going on around. We need answers. So everyone has agreed to participate in this town hall that Community Board 9, along with the representative, has orchestrated to bring answers to the community. For those who may not know, my name is Bruce Moore, and I'm the chairman of Community Board 9. So of course I want to welcome all of our board members. I want to welcome our constituents in the community, and we're going to get this town hall started. Before I introduce Reverend Bledsoe, I want to let everybody know in the audience we have representatives from Congresswoman Yvette Clark's office, Assemblyman Walter Mosley's office, and I see my good friend District Leader Jeffrey Davis here. Welcome, Jeffrey. So at this time, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Reverend Bledsoe, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Crown Heights. Good evening. Good evening. Amen. It's not Sunday morning, but I'll make sure everybody's awake. I am here tonight for a lot of different reasons. Most importantly, to say first and foremost that First Baptist Church of Crown Heights is in support of the development, the transitional housing. And I spoke on Sunday at First Baptist because I needed the church to know and understand the stand that I was taking. I stand diametrically opposed to the shelter on Bourbon Street. There is a problem with oversaturation of shelters, particularly in Crown Heights, when the vast majority, 3 out of 5 that are being built and open are opening in Crown Heights. But when it comes to transitional housing, which I refuse to call shelters, because this is when we're talking specifically about families. And as a church in the community that is 3 blocks away from this development, it is not only our duty and responsibility to be supportive, but also to find a way that we can help. What way can we pitch in to make certain that the families in this in the development get the services that they need? Certainly, there are lots of services that will be provided there. The company that is running it, I kind of looked them up, and I've seen how they've done well. They partnered with other churches, CCC being one of them. But this is Crown Heights. There are families for any number of reasons who may find themselves homeless. And it does not just have to be missing a check. Sometimes it's a fire that may put someone in a position where they don't have the money, they don't have the resources to automatically go find another place to live. And it's important that they have a place that they can come so that their family doesn't get split up, so that they don't have to go into a shelter where mama is going to be separated from daddy. This is an opportunity for us to keep families together, and therefore First Baptist Church of Crown Heights stands on the side of supporting this development and also supporting the families and the children who will go into it. Having said that, I'm not going to go away. I will be moderating after the elected officials have spoken, but I do want to invite up now Tahira Moore.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to see you all here in spite of the rain and all. I'm glad you all came out. I'm Tahira Moore, Mayor Bill de Blasio's Brooklyn Borough Director and his Community Affairs Unit. I just want to quickly talk to you about the mayor's homelessness plan. In February, the mayor gave a speech addressing homelessness in New York City. Now, this was as real can get, and he spoke directly to New Yorkers about the challenges posed by homelessness. And yes, he did announce that he was opening and renovating 90 shelters, but he also announced that he was closing 360 sites. In fact, here in Community Board 9, that That means we are getting out of all 16 cluster sites. We have exited 4 already this year, and we'll exit 10 more by the end of June, and we'll exit 2 more afterwards. So where we started out in CD9 with 19 facilities, with the implementation of this one, I'm included right now, we'll have 4 in CD9. So there will be a reduction from 19 to 4. Additionally, the new programs developed by the de Blasio administration are working, and we have fully stopped the growth of homelessness. We have doubled the investment in prevention programs to keep people in their homes, and now offering universal access to legal services and homelessness prevention to help prevent evictions, which have already led to the 24% reduction that we see. Now, some people have said to me, you know, you're building homeless shelters, but you're not building housing. Well, I'm going to respectfully push back on that and say here, right here in CD9, the city has financed 824 affordable units, which 821 of them are for low-income New Yorkers and below. Moreover, under this administration, DHS has helped to transition more than 1,000 families out of shelter into permanent housing right here in Crown Heights. The community also plays an important part in helping homeless families get integrated back in their community. I always give my personal testimony because I was a teen running around homeless since I had 2 parents on drugs. And if I didn't have my community, which is Bedford-Stuyvesant and Northern Crown Heights, if I didn't have my community encouraging me and keeping me on track, if I was shipped away somewhere far, it would have devastated me all the more. But I had people that fed me, laid on their couches. They support me to where I can be the young woman I am today, working in my community. So I know that community plays a major part in bringing people and integrating them back in their community, encouraging them and supporting them to move along. And so the mayor's plan has community as the center focus. So you'll see families that are from the particular communities that have become homeless being returned back to their families. That's one of the most important components, as well as we're giving communities better notice. We've heard and I've been in meetings where people said, you didn't notify, you didn't notify, you didn't notify. And so we're holding these meetings now, which I remember growing up. I live around about 8 shelters, and I don't ever remember meetings or anything being held where we could discuss this and hear back from the community. So that's why we're holding these type of meetings, so we can hear what you have to say and then, take information back. As well as we want to set up community advisory board meetings where it will consist of the elected officials, the community board 9, as well as community leaders, all to come together so that issues arise in any shelter, and this is for all of New York City, issues arise in any shelter, we can address those issues head on and right away. Now, I know there are concerns about this site, so I want to quickly give 4 points about this site, then I will get out of your way. This site will be for family and children, largely from this area. This location will give those families the opportunity to be sheltered closer to their support systems, their schools, their houses of worship, and this site will be run by Samaritan Daytop Village. And this site will offer community space and jobs to the community members, as well as offer child care and after-school programs. We have DHS and we have Samaritan Daytop Village here to answer your questions. I want you all to ask the tough questions. I want you, as my niece always say, you gotta be woke. So I want you all to be woke. I want you all to articulate your stance. I just ask, lastly, that we don't hold this administration responsible for what past administrations have done. Hold us responsible for what we're doing. And also, if we respectfully hear each other's stance, articulate and speak how you feel. If you have an opposing opinion, please offer it. But if we can do it respectfully, because I want to hear what everyone has to say so I can take the information back. And if everyone talks over it, I won't be able to hear the good ideas that come forth, whatever dissenting opinions may come forth. So that's my little presentation. I'll move out your way so we can get to the point and they can answer all of your questions. Daniel? Senator Hamilton?
Yes.
Would you like to speak, sir?
Yes.
So you're here from Senator Hamilton.
Good evening, everyone. Just got back from Albany. And I came out here today because we're facing a crisis in many of the neighborhoods that color in this city. And Crown Heights in particular, we've been fighting for the Armory to get affordable housing for a long period of time. And we still haven't gotten the financials for the project. I'm an attorney, I'm an MBA, and I'm a licensed appraiser. And so when I asked the city and BFC where the financials, they said, well, no one's ever asked us for that before. So right now, we have a homeless crisis in our city, and I'm not blaming the people who run the shelters because they have a job to do. But what I am blaming is the policy of the city. Why are we spending $3,000 a month for shelter housing? It makes no sense. You can take a fraction of that for home stability support and keep them in, that's something which you cannot quote me to. So what we're facing now is that we have to spend our money wisely. We're going to talk to our community leaders and say, what do we need for our community? We can't be imposing the will of others in our community. We're oversaturated already. Supportive housing, people with disabilities. We have homeless shelters on Albany, between Winthrop and Clarkson. And so we did a study 10 years ago, and it showed that we have more than our fair share. In the affluent neighborhoods, they don't get anything. They get nothing. So we have to say enough is enough.
That's it.
Enough is enough. And we have to say, look, we got to tell Mayor de Blasio, he ran on a tale of two cities.
Hello, somebody.
That was his platform, and it's gotten worse. Instead of getting better. At first, they said we're going to build 200,000 affordable units. Then it went down to 150. Then it went down to 100. And then it went down to, I'm going to get more high-paying jobs. So the barometer is always moving in the wrong direction. Because, and I asked him, I said, in Albany, I said, where can a person live in New York City making minimum wage? He didn't answer me. I said, where can a person live in New York City making minimum wage? No place. Okay, so the affordable housing component for the city cannot be shelters. Because shelters are destabilizing mentally, physically. Your children don't have a stable place to live. You're being moved around from school to school. You're not being educated properly. So it's time for the mayor's office to sit down and come up with a comprehensive plan. And I'm not anti-shelter, but we have our fair share already. We have more than that. Let's go to Brooklyn Heights. Let's go to Park Slope. Let's go to Carroll Gardens. Let's go to neighborhoods that don't have names and put it over there. So that's where we're at right now. And they said, the mayor is going to be Robin Hood for the city. He's fighting for the city. He's Robin Hood. He's going to take from the rich and get to the poor. But really all he's doing is just robbing the hood. He says robbing the hood. He's not giving us anything that we really need. So I'm saying, why spend $3,000 a month for a place that has no kitchen? Kids are hungry when they go to school in the morning. No place where you can cook. We keep displacing people. To me, it doesn't make sense. So what we're doing is we're displacing, let's look at this. We're displacing people, and we can keep them in their homes.
Yes.
So we can gentrify. Mm-hmm. This is all a plan that's been planned out already years ago.
Yes.
And now we're seeing the effects of it.
Yes.
And when our neighborhoods were tough, we went through the hard times, now that we're stabilized, they said, well, no, it's time for you guys to go. We're going to say, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay right here, where we live at, where we grew up at. This is the first time in history where our kids can't live in the neighborhood they grew up in. That makes no sense. And we need to take this story throughout New York City. To the other neighborhoods, Sunset Park, people are hurting, Bay Bridge, people are hurting. So I think we need to, I'm going to hear from you, officer, but I'm saying right now, we have an armory, we have free land, and they want to put affordable housing on it. They're giving us 20% affordable. So why is the mayor building luxury housing
Yes.
and luxury condos for people coming into the neighborhood and then giving us shelters.
And shelters.
So why should we get the shelters?
Yes.
We pay taxes, okay, we work hard, and we deserve a fair share. And right now, we're not getting a fair share, and I just have to say, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. We need workforce housing. It makes no sense for people to work every day and have no place to live. And so, this is the beginning of a fight. We've been fighting myself, a single woman, Diane Richardson, and we're going to continue to fight until we get heard. You know, but I'm tired of marching. We need an action plan.
But you need a lawsuit.
You know, if I lawsuit, I will file a lawsuit. You know, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. It needs to be done. So, yeah, so I'm going to end here. We're going to have a nice panel here. I see Pastor Bless all here, so we'll be back. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. So I want to bring up Assembly Member Diana Richardson to address you, and then we're going to move on.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, I gotta wake up. Good evening, everyone. All right, for those of you who do not know me, I'm Assemblywoman Diana Richardson. Thank you. I represent the communities of Crown Heights, Prospect, Lefferts Gardens, and East Flatbush. But tonight, I'm lending my voice to a higher power. Because just like you guys, I am a community resident. I'm born and raised, and today I still reside in Crown Gardens on President Street in Nostrand, 1 block away from this proposed shelter. I went to Head Start in Medgar Evers College. I even literally graduated from this school as my elementary school. Okay? So, when I'm speaking tonight, it is not as an elected official. I am speaking as a hyper community resident. And I'm trying to tell you guys something very important. We have a problem. We have a problem about what is happening in our community, and we also have a problem in the way that the elected officials that are elected to represent us are handling the problem. Now, many of you may have saw a video that I did that recently went viral. Raise your hand if you saw it. To God be the glory, I was telling the truth. Everything that I said in there, I was telling the truth, fact check it, and more importantly, half of you guys found out about this shelter because of that video. Am I correct? Okay, so say thank you, Diana. All right. Now, there was a Patch.com article, and I want to clear this up right now. You guys got to understand the way the district is cut. Rogers Avenue between Nostrand and New York belongs to me. I represent that. But you see, everything that is Rogers Avenue everything that is every street like President Carroll, whatever, between Rogers and Bedford, that is the 57th Assembly District represented by Wilton Mosley. Yes, you guys, it is on one side of the street, but literally it is a different Assembly District. Are y'all following me? Yes. So many of you were in the newspaper talking about why didn't my elected official notify me? Well, guess what? I am not your elected official. Literally, it is that close to the borderline. But you know what? I was very thankful about the residents on Crown Street that raised these concerns. Shout out to the Crown Street Block Association for organizing so beautifully. I want to thank you guys so much. Because true, they are Crown Street between Rogers and Bedford. I am not the assemblywoman. You guys see that? But I live on President between Nostrand and Rogers, the 43rd Assembly District where I represent. So although I am not your assemblywoman, you know what, you guys? You know what we have in common? We are the same Brooklyn Community Board 9. I am not your assemblywoman, but we have the same New York State Senator. Literally, that represents my house. We also have the same New York City Council member. And I was very happy that you guys raised this issue because technically this shelter is in my district, on my side of the block. Just the way the Bedford Union Armory is across the street and it's technically not in my district. But they were smart enough to know that even though they're not in my district, they have an impact. Just the same way us in the 43rd have an impact with that project. Are y'all following me? Connect And so Senator Hamilton started off by a very long time. First of all, Samaritan Bridge, let me just say this. We did a little research, there were some things in there, but they are not the culprit here. They are the provider for the shelter. The person who we have to really keep an eye on here is Mayor Bill de Blasio. But I am getting to that, okay? I am getting to that. Now, Senator Hamilton said it very clearly. We have been fighting for a very long time about the Bedford Union Armory. You may say, we're here for a shelter meeting. Why do they keep bringing that up? We are losing our homes. The price of housing has gone up so much. I believe Mayor de Blasio when he tells me he has a homeless crisis, and I believe him that he has to open up 90 new shelters. You want to know why? Because my office down the block right there in Empire in Wall Street is inundated every day with people who are going to housing court. If you would have got the map when you came in here tonight, Brooklyn evictions are up. And when you look at this community on the map, you will see that our community is being evicted at an expeditious rate. 10,000 people from the 43rd Assembly District in the last 2 years went to housing court. Many of them lost their home. So every time that we are talking about a housing crisis, you know what we really need? We need an opportunity. We need an opportunity where we're going to build real low income, and we need an opportunity where we're going to build real affordable housing. Do you see that Bedford Union Armory? That is what it needs to be for this Crown Heights community, given our housing situation. But instead, you know what they have there? $1 million condominiums that not one of you in this room could afford, and a whole bunch of luxury housing. Pause right there. So they're okay with doing luxury condominiums and luxury housing on city-owned land that Mayor Bill de Blasio is over. The same Mayor de Blasio that works for these people here for DHS. Y'all following me? But then you go one block across the street, next to Medgar Evers College, a college I got my degrees from. Thank God for Medgar Evers College. That's why my voice is so strong. Okay? Because I went to Medgar Evers College. So again, when I'm talking about this situation, I'm not just talking about somebody here. You understand? Born, raised, moving through these streets. Medgar Evers College. Here comes they knock down St. Ignatius Church. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I know that hurts your heart so tremendously. Because guess what? I used to go to Girl Scouts in St. Ignatius Church. But also, there's another part of my story. I was very rude when I was growing up, y'all. Can you imagine I had an attitude? And my mother put me out of the house. She did. And it may sound like, yes, Miss Tyson Richardson threw Diana out, all the people from Brown Gardens in the back. It's true, she did it. I was rude. And I ended up in Covenant House Shelter. That is the reality of my story, okay? And I lived there for about 2 years. So I also was homeless. And it was nice when people closed the doors on me. So I know what I am talking about. I know what it means to like pull yourself up and have to get back on again. All right? So I'm not judging the homeless. What we are saying to the Department of Homeless Services is, and the city of New York is, you could do better by the Crown Heights community. You could do better. Because in the midst of a housing crisis, when we are losing our homes, when eviction is up, we are not really providing real low income and real affordable housing. We see the cranes, we see the development, but none of us can afford to move in anywhere. Y'all got that, right? You know why? Because it is private people who own those lands, like private citizens. I can't tell the person who owns a private plot of land what to build. Anyone who's a homeowner in here, you understand that it's your property. No one can tell you what to build. But when we, as the city of New York, do have property, given our homelessness crisis, given everything that's going on, when you have things like the Bedford Union Armory, you need to be doing the right thing. Hello, somebody. Not only that, now we're talking about, I'm pulling out, and I wish she was here because I really wanted to say it to her while she was here. Councilwoman Lori Cumbo. Good, thank you. Good. Councilwoman Lori Cumbo. Very good. I want to give y'all a very, very clear picture about the distinction between power and influence. Power is when you have the ability to do something about something. Like when you have the power to do it, you can do something about it. When you have influence, right? You can use your influence, your reputation, your name, your voice to lift up the concern of something, but you don't have the power to do something. You see, between the armory and between the shelter, I am not a city council member. I'm a New York State member, just like Jesse Hamilton is a New York State senator. You know who we take care of? We take care of Governor Cuomo. And if y'all see Blasio, I would take care of him too. Okay? But do you know who has the power? Lori, you have it. You have the power. Because Lori Campbell is the councilwoman. When this armory comes down for a vote, it is her who has to vote. This shelter project is a city project. Who gave out the plan? De Blasio. Who deals with De Blasio? The council member. Do you understand? And so, I was notified about the project, right? But guess who I am? A state elected official. All right, I'm gonna wait to hear and see if anybody say anything. Guess what, y'all? Who y'all heard it from? Me. Thank you. So, I also want to say that now we recently calling on this same building now to be 100% low-income housing. All right, guess what, y'all? I can stand behind that. I can stand behind that. I can. But I also want to tell you that when they did the tour for this, facility, I was the only elected official that walked the grounds. So yes, I walked the grounds. The square footage of each apartment, Senator Hamilton, you were wrong. They do have kitchens, they have stoves, they have sinks, they have everything. But y'all know what they don't have? No square footage. The units, y'all can see it from out on the tour, it's extremely small. This building was outfitted for a shelter. This building was not outfitted for low-income housing. So even if we are successful in getting it to be low-income housing, I want y'all to know those units are no bigger than my kitchen and my living room combined. So that is the type of housing that we will be providing for constituents. What we need to do is say, number one, I'm telling y'all it is time to rise up. It is time to wake up, and it is time to pay attention. Okay? I'm going to always continue to speak the truth, and I'm going to always continue to support you guys, and I thank God for you, because y'all, if it wasn't for you guys as residents, I swear I probably wouldn't have any energy to fight. This is something that we got to really address with Mayor Bill de Blasio and Councilwoman Lori Campbell, and I'm just being very honest about what it is. You understand? And this is not about a finger point. You understand? This is straight up facts. There's a difference between power and influence. Use the power.
Thank you, Senator Member. Powerful statement, Councilmember. Come on up. We introduce Councilmember Roy. Come over to say a few words, and then, hold on. After the council member, I'm going to turn the mic over to Reverend Wilson so we can get into our Q&A and get answers to our questions. So here's Councilmember Roy.
Good evening. This is such an important time in our community, and I'm so pleased that so many people have come out tonight. I want to address the issue of the shelter situation in our community. What we did last week as a community, with many members of the community, we too organized and came together, came to a meeting at Dion's home, came to a press conference afterwards, have had meetings with the administration, because I want to let you know as well, while we are the council members, we have power over three things: land use, we have power over the budget, as well as our local laws. The way the administration works, homeless shelters are out of our domain. The mayor decides without any consultation with the elected officials, with the community boards, when and where and how they will place shelters. The challenge with that process is that we are not informed in ample time to have any input in this discussion. You are not informed in any way to make ample discussion about this particular issue. So what we are doing today is we are pushing back on the mayor's plan, because we don't believe that we should create temporary housing for our residents. The goal was to create an opportunity for those in shelter to be able to come reconnected back to their Crown Heights community. That sounds fine temporarily, but what about in the long term? Once they're relocated here, then where will they be relocated to? So our concern is to make sure that we create 100% low-income housing so that people from our shelter system can come back and have a home, acclimate themselves to their school system, and so on and so forth, as well as their jobs. Now, this would be the first time that we would be able to see something like this happen, where this will be repurposed in the vision of the community. Now, we've had several situations in the district, not exactly like that, but similarly, and I'll give you an example. What we had at the Brooklyn Jewish Hospital complex, 700 units of housing that wasn't legally market rate. What we did as a community and working with the tenants is we worked with ALMA, we worked with HPD and the administration, and now Brooklyn Jewish Hospital in the upcoming weeks is going to be made into 700 units of affordable housing for that particular community. We worked together with 32BJ and others to make that a reality. The other situation that is similar to that, we had a situation at 21 St. James Place, Mitchell-Lama building. The tenants were in the process of coming out of the Mitchell-Lama process and then becoming market rate housing. We fought that, we came together as a community and we organized, and we were able to keep 21 St. James in the Mitchell-Lama housing program and to keep it affordable. So all of these are new experiences, but what I do know is that when we work collectively and collaboratively as a community in one voice, in unison, there are so many things that we can accomplish. So that's my goal as an elected, is to work with each and every one of you to bring together the community. United, we are so much stronger, but particularly in communities of color, we continue to be divided and thereby conquered. So for me, my goal as an elected is to work with you. I've come to as many of the meetings as I possibly can, but not only attending meetings, but also being out front on many of these issues. When it comes to the Bedford Union Armory, as my sister Diana Richardson spoke about, this is a clear issue of an opportunity for us to create affordable housing. This is a clear opportunity for us to be able to create a recreational center for our young people. Where I stand with that particular project and have remained true to that, the developer as well as the administration have come up with their offer. We as a community, including myself, have rejected that offer. We have rejected that offer in unison. That offer does not impact our community in a proper way. Through what's known as negotiation, we will now hear what the mayor is going to put forward in terms of resources as far as how this project can be improved. We had our governor on the state side come forward and promise $1.4 billion in resources to our community. He is now in discussion with the mayor and city and state, and our elected officials on all ends need to work together to get city and state resources so that we can see what the new deal is. Once we find out what the new deal is, then we can decide if we want to kill that deal. But those resources and those opportunities are going to be made available to us within the next month. So it's only prudent for us to sit, continue to organize, continue to raise our voices, and to hear what that new deal is going to be. How much affordable housing are we going to have? How deep is it going to be? How permanent is it going to be? We're going to have an understanding of the amount of jobs created. We're going to have an understanding of the number of schools that will be promised space within the building. We're going to have an opportunity to understand so many aspects of this project. The reality of the situation is, if it's not a project that meets the needs of this community, if it's not reflective, then we kill the deal. But I don't understand the psychology of not even hearing a governor who's put forward $1.4 billion in state resources, that we have an opportunity to hear what he's going to put forward. So I want to hear what the deal is. As your elected official, we can all talk together, but we cannot all stick together, but we can all talk together. Let me explain something.
What about the 58 $1 million condos
Okay.
on the President Street side of the Army? 58 $1 million condos.
Let me just say this.
The apartments are only 18 are truly affordable for this community.
We are all going to have an opportunity to speak about this. We do not know in the negotiation process, will those particular luxury condominiums be taken off the table or not taken off the table? We don't have an opportunity to know that if we don't hear the conversation.
everybody, hold up. My name is Dion Ashman. I'm a 53-year resident in this neighborhood. It was my block that put together that meeting on Crown Street last week, all right, after we saw Diana Richardson's video. The councilwoman came out, but listen, let her finish talking so we can get to the provider, all right, Good Samaritan, and let's keep this real. Listen, we can't, listen, no applause, please. This is real. We're getting down to business tonight. So we just need to keep it easy and pay attention, and I hope everybody is taking notes. It's not a time to go, it's time to get the information, and then we go into action after. You understand? Does everybody understand me? Thank you. Councilman, please.
So I'm going to conclude my remarks tonight, but I just want to let you know that this project is in continuous negotiation. It's an opportunity for us to hear what the city and the state are going to put forward to improve this project dramatically. And I just want to say, in all of my years, over 25 years of doing professional work in this community, I have given my blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice to this entire community. So my goal is only, well, many may attack me, but I'm not aware or their work is not present to me in the community. But I want to say that I have made the sacrifices. I have worked on behalf of this community. You can go anywhere in this neighborhood and see the work that I have done. So I want to make sure that we continue to build together as a community, and just remember, together we can accomplish so much, but if we continue the divisive, he versus she, that one versus that one, we're going to continue to be a community that's going to be ravished by others. So thank you all so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. So we're about to go into Q&A, and let's keep in mind tonight, this town hall, I'm glad things are coming out because there's so many issues going on in our community. But tonight, let's focus our questions on this proposed shelter. All right, this proposed shelter that has come to our community. Dion, thank you very much for your statement. Let's focus. We have questions, we want answers. It took work to get all of this together. Let's get our answers while we're here. And again, thank you for coming out. Brother?
Thank you. We're going to open this up for questions now, but we want to maintain, and Dion, again, thank you very much. 2 minutes max for everybody, and what we need to do is make certain that while people are speaking, we maintain. We're not going to agree with everything that other people say. We're not going to cheer for everybody. We just need to hear from as many people as we can. We have a hard stop at 8 o'clock. And we need to hear from as many people as humanly possible. So, there's a list. If somebody can bring me the list. While we're getting the list, I'm going to ask Jeffrey Davis to please come forward. Yes. District Leader. And again, this discussion is about the housing development at Crown and Rogers.
The shelter.
The housing development at Crown and Rogers.
Thank you, hello everyone. Jeffrey Davis, District Leader for I just don't have the energy. I got used to continue to be aggressive, but I support. We have an opportunity. So, with all the respect to Pastor's decision, but I disagree. And I think that this should be 100% permanent low-income housing at this particular property. I can't, permanent low-income housing, 100%. That's what it should be. We have an opportunity in Crown Heights. We did a press conference with the councilwoman in the chair. And also I spoke to Rabbi Squirrel and other people, and we agreed that this would be permanent, 100% affordable, permanent 100% low-income housing at this particular site. Families are being shuffled 6 months here, 12 months there, and transferred there. They have an opportunity to stay, to tend to their families, their children, and so on and so forth. So this particular site should be permanent 100% low-income housing.
Thank you. And rather than going with the list. We're just gonna have people to line up at this mark and at this mark. Listen, people will call it. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And we're on the clock. Carl Gable. Carl Gable. Where's Carl Gable? Raise your hand. Carl Gable's not here. Rabbi Jacob Goldstein.
In the house. Hello? It's not working.
We need the mic.
Not working.
My name is Alicia Boyd. I represent Amber, the movement to protect the people. And I just want to say, I just want to say that this development was already planned in 2013 to come in here and put shelters in this community. Because black communities are expendable, okay? Every part of this community is under attack. We got major, massive development going on Washington Avenue that they're trying to do along the border. People need to come out for that. They got the Armory, major luxury development, and you know who's to blame? You blame it on one person, Lori Cumbo. And I'm pointing fingers, honey. Lori Cumbo, she is your council person. If she was fighting for you, and if she was protecting you, it wouldn't be happening. Because it doesn't happen in Park Slopes. It doesn't happen in Carroll Gardens. It happens in Crown Heights. It happens in Flatbush.
1 minute.
Oh, we gotta stop this. We gotta stop the bullshit. We gotta stop the nonsense. And we gotta get these corrupt elected officials the fuck out. Okay? That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's gotta get ghetto like that.
So, listen. Now we know what not to do. Rabbi Goldstein. And let me say, I am going to use the list. We have to maintain control of the meeting if it's going to be productive. So I am going to use the list.
Thank you very much. Thank you, I guess, acting chair, moderator. For those who don't know me, my name is Rabbi Jacob Goldstein. I have lived 59 of my years in this community, 44 on Montgomery Street. That's for starters. I'd like to start by doing some important housekeeping announcement. Dion, please stand up. Yeah, you, stand up. I want everybody in this room to know that this is the person responsible for us being here tonight. Give me a round of applause. He can be humble when he wants.
You don't have much time, Rabbi.
It's okay. Number two.
Bring everybody.
Number two. 1994, the city tried to ram a shelter onto our community in the old Kingsborough site. I was chairing the board, which I was for 34 years. I got wind of it through Pearl. Made a phone call into the governor's office. Spoke to Jim Natoli, director of operations. I told him we cannot have this. It's a dirty deal. Jim said to me, I'll stop it, but you got to not break the rubber band. And we did it. The deputy mayor was on the way to get a certificate of operation. He was told to speak to community board 9. We went from 600 people to something natural like 67 people, 67 families. The question to you, to all of you there, we just heard that these are tiny hovels. Tiny. How do you expect to have a family of 4 or 5 in a tiny place? And I'd like to know what is the square footage of each apartment, and more important is, what kind of money is the city of New York paying to the developer, contractor, and to your organization?
Thanks for the opportunity to join you tonight. So to take up your question, the unit, this is an 80-20 building. It's definitely on. So this is an 80-20 building. 80% of it will be for families with children who are homeless. 20% of the units in this 132-unit building will be 421A units. that are being handled like all other 421A affordable housing units open to this community. Our goal here is to relocate, to offer the opportunity for families from this community who are homeless and in the system today to relocate to this community. This is a brand new building. These units are consistent with what the State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance require in terms of kitchens, in terms of square feet. This building is suitable for this purpose, which is why we chose it.
What is the cost? Talk about dollars.
The cost, so the contract will be available for inspection in advance of a public hearing. I believe the public hearing for this one is scheduled for April 20th.
Don't talk.
Sir, answer the question.
Next, Rabbi
You didn't answer the question.
Don't
talk, baby.
The square footage or about before the April 20th meeting.
Reverend, have them answer the question.
Do we have these square footage? Okay.
This is what they do every time they go.
Come on.
Hello, good evening. Can everyone, I guess everyone can hear me. I can hear myself. My name is Karen Ford. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Real Estate and Housing for Samaritan Daytop Village. Thank you for having us here. Just to answer the questions for you around the units, the building is equipped with full amenities. There's laundry room, in the building. The square footage is, again, in alignment with Office of Temporary Disability. The number ranges anywhere from a one-bedroom is 450 square feet to the three-bedroom is around 700 square feet.
Thank you.
Good evening, thank you.
Hold on. Is this a rabbi?
Yes. Thank you. I actually submitted a list of questions to the city. I hope that you will respond. I'm going to ask two of those questions tonight. But first, I want to make a brief statement. I live in Crown Heights. I was born there in 1982. My parents moved there in 1970. The community I belong to has been there since 1940. The synagogue I belong to has been there since 1940. The Jewish community was here since 1940. We're also here to stay, and we're not going anywhere. If you could please address how was this location chosen? What were the factors taken into account? And what other locations were considered? And please address the question. Thank you.
So in general, so there's a handout, and I think we provided the handout at the back of the room. So I'm going to read, collect what's written there.
With all due respect, it's a fairly simple question. Please respond.
So the not-for-profit providers, such as Samaritan Village, propose sites to the city. We had an open-ended request for proposals that we have out there over the long term. We then get those proposals, we evaluate them based on a whole set of criteria. Is the project, is the building appropriate for our needs? Do we have need in this community? Although this is the only families with children shelter that will exist in this community, we have a look at the viability of the building, the scope of the client services, the experience of the provider, pricing, and a whole host of other operational matters. They get scored. If it gets approved, we then go forward. Part of that process includes a community notification process. We first notified folks on this building on February 15th.
Did you look at the community?
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That was a question. Thank you very much. Dion Ashman?
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead, Dion.
You know me.
Speak the truth.
What am I going to say? I don't what? I don't need a mic. Can you all hear me? I actually wrote down my questions because I normally don't write down questions. The Department of Homeless Services, you got answers. As we decrease the number of facilities in this neighborhood, in Crown Heights, what's going to happen to the number of beds? You're talking about going down, now you're down to what, 14, 15 facilities? When you get down to 4, how many beds are we going to have? Because right now we're talking about 132 at Rogers Avenue and Crown Street. Are all 4 of them going to have 132 beds? How many beds will we have? Are we going to have more beds in 4 facilities than we have in 19? That's the first question. And I'm going to take license because I graduated from 161 in spring of 1975. So I'm asking 2 questions.
I don't have the number of beds in front of me, but it's going to be above balance. I think on balance, this may end up at the end of our plan in 5 to 7 years. Right now, the estimate is possibly 90 more over the current.
Oh, just, by the way, just so you all know, I'm totally opposed to this project the way it is. Just so you know that. All right? So now, second question. The mayor has said many times over the last year, wait, is Lincoln Wrestler here?
Yes, he is.
Stand up, sir. You don't return phone calls. You call me and I answer and talk to you, but you don't get back to me when I call you. So stand up, I gotta ask you a question. All right? Get to the microphone, please.
Yeah, let's get to the question now.
I'm gonna get to it. You need the mic.
Right there.
The mayor has said many times over the last year that we all have to share the burden of housing the homeless. But there are several neighborhoods across Brooklyn, southern Brooklyn, where the city, according to its own stats, has 0 homeless hotels and cluster sites. Will this change? And I'm specifically referring to Crown Heights, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and also Flatbush. All right? In Crown Heights, we have over 1,700 beds. Over in Bed-Stuy, there's over 1,500. In Park Slope, there's only 331.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to answer the question. My name is Lincoln Wrestler. I work in the mayor's office, and I apologize for not getting back to you. There was a miscommunication with my team, and I apologize. To answer your question directly, in the new plan that the mayor laid out in February, one crystal clear commitment that he made to all New Yorkers is that there are homeless individuals from every community in the city of New York, and every community district in the city of New York should house at least one shelter facility to at least one shelter facility. Right now, there are about 10 that have 0. Every community district in the city of New York should house at least one shelter so that we can do a better job of keeping homeless individuals closer to their home communities. So that kids don't have to travel so far to school, so that families are closer to their community networks, their religious, their social networks, their medical care. And the mayor has said in his home community in Park Slope, there will be additional shelter beds as well. And what the mayor laid out is a 5-year plan for us to accomplish this over a period of time where we're closing down 360 locations, including, as we discussed, 15 here in Crown Heights and CB9, and opening up some new sites where we can ensure that clients and families are staying closer to home, closer to their home communities, so that kids don't have to travel so far to school and the like.
Okay, so 2 of the main things that you're going to
Yeah,
get
nice.
tonight, take back
Because everybody else.
take back to the mayor. 1, 267 Rogers Avenue, 100% low-income housing. We're working on that plan, and we'll get back to him. Okay? 2, let him know before he even touches Crown Heights again that he needs to push that shelter in Park Slope.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Michael.
Permanent housing.
Michael LeBert, where is he? Library? That's all right, we're going to move forward. Joanne Antrobus. Joanne Antrobus.
Good afternoon. I live at 212 Crown Street, directly across the street from that shelter. It's 211 Crown Street. They said it was 267 Rogers Avenue. The address on it is 211 Crown Street. I lived there for 29 years. When you put homeless family in a place and you have to take them out, you destabilize them. Y'all need to have real homes for these people and their children.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Peter Velez. Peter Velez.
Good evening, my name is Peter Velez, and I'm a lifelong resident of Crown Heights. Crossed that stage many a time on graduations, awards, ceremonies, etc. I have to say that the logic of building a homeless shelter to house members of the community that you caused to be homeless is baffling and disrespectful. To build a shelter that is not 5 to 6 blocks away from a luxury complex, Bedford's Armory, it's a spit in the face of this community. Okay, you're doing this to keep families in the community for 1 year. What happens to them then? Okay, you want them to keep them in the community and go to schools and their churches like St. Ignatius that are priced out of this community, that are then closed and shut down. Schools that are being defunded in place of charter schools. This school has given 2 floors up to a charter school. There used to be, sorry if I'm being loud and the speakers are there. There used to be a junior high school here, a science junior high school. I went to a biology competition. Who's teaching the kids? Mercenary teachers. Sorry, but hey, charter schools. Look up their effects on communities of color. All right, fine. So, question 1: what happens to the families after 1 year? What happened to the people from the shelters that you closed? Where have they gone? Exactly, they're being shuffled around. Oh yeah, one last question. Why do you think it's okay to do this to people? To bully them? To put upon them as opposed to talking to them? People have plans for the community. Okay, there's a proposal to make the Bedford Armory a community land trust, or possibly dorms, or 100% permanent affordable housing. There are plans that the community and community members have. Listen to them. Oh, sorry, the questions again. Just to reiterate out of the speech, what happens after 1 year, and what have happened to the people that have already been shuffled around on the system? Thank you.
Hi, so thank you for your question. What happens to the individuals that are in our family? Samaritan Village, we offer a comprehensive social service program. Our clients will work with social workers, case managers, housing. From the time an individual family enters one of our facilities, we begin the process of planning for them for permanency. Because transitional housing is exactly what we said it is. It's transition. It's not permanent. That's not the place that we want them to stay. We do want our families and individuals to find permanent housing. They work with our housing specialists and a team of case managers to find affordable and permanent housing along with community support so that they can reintegrate into the communities. And again, the community, wherever it is that we find housing, wherever the family wants to live, they have a right to determine which borough, where they want to live, and we work towards meeting that goal for them.
How many have you?
We've placed over the last year 1,000 individuals into permanent housing.
Where?
All over, through all 5 boroughs.
Good evening. Services at DHS. I'm speaking louder now. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Family Services at DHS. And just to underscore what Karen mentioned, so when we're looking at the last 3 years, we were able to place 1,000 families actually across the system back into Crown Heights. So we really work in partnership with families. You know, Karen talked about from the Samaritan perspective, there is a responsibility all providers have to work in partnerships with families to identify affordable housing and permanent plans so that they can actually return to the community. And so that is our intent here.
We're going to pause now. We have in the room the New York City Public Advocate, Letitia James. So give her a round of applause as she comes forward.
So I don't really need a microphone, you all know me. As your former city council member who's represented this district for 10 years, I've led you in a number of fights. I've led you in a fight against the charters in this building. I led you in the fight against Atlantic Yards. I led you in the fight to renovate Bedford Atlantic Armory, but we were going to renovate it into an athletic center. But at that time, Mayor Bloomberg opposed it because, as you know, there was an increase in homelessness, despite the fact that I took your tax dollars and with Marty Markowitz, and the money is still there. And I'm hoping that one day we can have an athletic center at Bedford and Atlantic Armory. With regards to this particular proposal, I stand with this community as I've stood with you previously. You're right. This community, no, I'm not here to get any applause or to get your response, just to listen. This is a teaching moment. The reality is that this community has been dumped on. Don't applaud. The reality is that we have taken in our fair share. Don't applaud. But the reality is right now, the law is on the side of the administration. Whether or not you accept that or not, it's a fact. You've been successful in court, and you've learned from the best. However, don't pull up that either. But if in fact, as we go forward, and we've got to accept this development, and I support Lori Cumbo's proposal to build permanent housing, and you need to give it up to Councilmember Lori Cumbo. And there should not be any disrespect with any elected officials because we're all in this together. And you got to provide leadership here. And the bottom line is this. We need to make sure that if we go forward with this proposal that there's support services in place and that this plan truly addresses the needs of residents who come from this neighborhood and live in this neighborhood. And last but not least, as we move forward, we need an administration which will dramatically change how we address truly affordable housing for low-income individuals in this city. You just can't rezone your way out of this. No way. And you've got to work with more not-for-profit developers in this city and change the AMI. All of these proposals and more, no applause because you got a long line. All of these proposals and more, I look forward to working with this administration. But don't be mistaken and don't let anyone confuse you. This public advocate came from this neighborhood, stands with this neighborhood, and will be with this neighborhood for 10 years. She poured her heart and soul into this neighborhood, and we will not go in the opposite direction, not while I am alive and not while I am your public servant. Now you can applaud.
Thank you. Heather Coppin. Heather Coppin. Sure. Patterson.
So I have lived in this neighborhood. Can everybody hear me? Use the mic.
Hey, movie.
So I have lived in this neighborhood for over 30 years and I have seen the ups and downs. I want to know how this shelter is going to be beneficial to our community. How is it going to be beneficial to our community? And also, I work at a community hospital, a municipal hospital, and I overheard two clients talking about the shelter today. I don't want to live in the same community that they have to live into, and I have to go to work and see them. So I want to know how is it going to be beneficial to us as community members.
So the way the Samaritan Daytop Village partners with our community is the first thing that we will do is establish a community advisory board. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. So the way that Samaritan Daytop Village partners with the community to be beneficial to the community, the first thing we will do is establish a community advisory board. That's our first level of partnership. That's where we come together and we begin to talk about planning and maintaining our relationships. We take our responsibility as good neighbors very serious. So that's one of the ways. Another way is, as the city said, the families that are going to be working with in this transitional housing are going to be a portion of them coming from this community. So that's how we're going to work with them. We're going to help stabilize them, help them put them back on their feet, give them the support and services that they need in order to move forward in their lives. Okay, and then there's another way that we're going to partner with the community is that we offer employment opportunities. You have an organization and an agency that is your partner. You know, we are responsive and we will hire individuals from the community. We have entry-level opportunities for individuals, security, residential aid, case management. We have professional opportunities. Social workers, licensed social workers. We're looking to, work with and partner with all of the other community supports that are in the neighborhood.
And if I could add one more piece to that, we have an opportunity here.
Who are you?
Excuse me?
Say your name.
Am I? I'm Douglas Apple, I'm the Executive Vice President for Samaritan Daytop Village. Thank you for asking. We see this as a community facility. If this was market rate housing, the 15,000 square feet of available first floor space would not be available to the community. We would like to create an opportunity for the residents of the building and for the neighborhood to benefit from that space. Job training programs, potentially daycare programs, after school programs. We've been in conversation with some of the local institutions about working together, and we really think that there's an opportunity. We could do meetings. We don't have a room this big. We have a room that probably fits 75 people. There are not many of them in this neighborhood. If the community board wanted to hold a meeting, if the church wanted to do an after school or an evening program, we would be very open and want to partner with the community to do that.
All right, one more question.
Okay.
Are these residents going to be drug addicts or recovering from addicts? We don't know what kind of people.
I just want to add to that because the face of homelessness has dramatically changed from what we know. And we have brought that particular topic up because when we think of a shelter and who's in a shelter, we often think of Bedford and Atlantic Avenue, the armory that is there. And we have brought this up in hearings and discussions that one of the reasons why people don't even want to think about a shelter in their community is about how poorly that shelter has been maintained. And so when we think about homelessness now, the vast majority are women and children. So many of our individuals that are in shelter are working 9-to-5 jobs. They have employment. So when we think about who's in a shelter, we also have to be sensitive to the fact that the reality is so many of our neighbors that have been evicted, moved out, pushed out, are now finding themselves in shelter. So that's a large part of the population. And as people of color, we also have to be particularly sensitive to that as well. But this shelter is not for families that have mental health issues in that way. This is strictly a family shelter. But what we're saying is, in this proposal, we're not saying that we as a community are not accepting of individuals that are coming from the shelter, but we want them to be placed in permanent low-income housing. We want them to have an opportunity to reconnect into their community and to live there permanently, not temporarily. So that's really what it is, because when you have the opportunity to have a home where you can send your kids to school, you know how to get to work, how to drop your kids off, that creates a family and that creates your investment into the community.
That wasn't an answer.
Thank you. Eric Hollander. Eric Hollander. No, come. So we can hear you.
All right, I wasn't expecting to be up here.
The next person, so that you're ready, come down to this mic and
I wanted to ask about the existing shelters, what do you think the failures are and how would you do something different? I hear Pan Am Hotel, that's under your jurisdiction now. Is that a success in your eyes?
They can't hear your question. Look in the mic.
Sorry, excuse me. I guess I wanted to see what you thought were the failures of the existing shelters, like the Pan Am Hotel. I think that is under your jurisdiction. And what would you do different than what's happened already? That's kind of where I'm at. What are you going to do different? I don't think those are so successful. They're not successful? No, they're not.
So I'm Steve Rock, and I work for Samaritan Village alongside Doug and Karen. So I'm not sure what you mean by success. If you want to call the fact that there are 200 families and close to 1,800 people that could have possibly been on the street are now housed a success, then it is a success. If you'd like to suggest that the kids that live in that shelter are now engaged in public school activities on a daily basis, in collaboration with the Department of Education on making sure that truancy is no longer an issue, homework is being done, and passing grades are monitored, that would be a success. I don't want to paint a picture that says our communities or our sub-communities are not without the same issues and problems that I'm sure every family in this room has to endure. It's pretty much a microcosm of the world you live in. But we would consider the fact that we have met all of our DHS targets for placing people out of the Boulevard or Pan Am Hotel shelter into permanent housing a success. I'm sorry? So I would say that in our estimation, alongside with our funding source, the City of New York and the State Office of Temporary Disability, yes, we've been successful, but there are so many more successes to be had in that particular site.
What about the dramatic?
I just want to add one more point because it's come up several times. Samaritan Daytop Village is a long-standing provider for more than 50 years. And yes, we started as a drug treatment program, and we're proud of that. It's still part of our DNA and part of who we serve, because we know that the scourge of drug addiction hits every community and every neighborhood.
But we don't want to hear.
But this program has nothing to do with drug treatment. This is a program for families and their children. These are families and their children that will come, in some cases, from the community. These are families and children who have the same issues that any family has, as Steve said, but their real need is to get housing, their real need is to get out of the program and into a permanent place. That's what we do. The Boulevard family residence, formerly known as the Pan Am, more than 200 families have moved out of that building in the past several years to permanent housing, and they've stayed out of the shelter system.
Where's the proof?
Can anybody hear me? My name is Warren King.
Speaking about.
Can you hear me? My name is Warren King. I'm originally from D.C. I moved to Crown Heights 7 years ago. Before I moved back from New York City, I was homeless. I've been in Cumberland House back in '98. I've been in North Island back in 2000. I've been to Bedford Land Shelter back in 2004. DHS had never, ever fixed that problem. Never. Never. My whole question is, and this is sound very particular, the much abandoned buildings I see in East New York, Crown Heights, in the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island. But y'all tell me here that these developers come up in here and take these lands and charge ridiculous amount of rent. Like a studio apartment for $900 to $1,000. I watch your minds. And on top of that, and even more that, my question to y'all is, and I want to say something about this. You have runaway youths in New York City that y'all cannot put housing to. You got one place for them to go, that's Company House. You have HIV positive people that's sleeping on the street and begging. I go to work every day. I'm on 34th Street and see people sleeping on the ground. My question is to you is, what tax dollar that y'all spend to fix that shelter in Crown Heights that you should never build that? My question is, why you won't build a shelter right there? You could build a YMCA right there or something. My question is,
Very well. Let's get an answer to the question.
because I'm sick and tired of using my taxpayer dollars paying for something that y'all don't even invest in nothing. Tell me who paid for this.
Yeah, so a couple of things that you mentioned. This shelter, as has been noted, will be the only family with children shelter in this community. I know that you're speaking about the shelter on Bergen Street. This evening, we were here, of course, to speak about this particular family shelter on Rogers Avenue. I appreciate the concerns with regards to youth homelessness. The administration has done a great deal to expand the number of beds over the last few years. It has a significant plan to expand further. So I appreciate your comments as well with regard to, and that of others, with regard to affordable housing. I think it's worth noting that since the start of this administration, more than 62,500 affordable homes, including enough affordable homes to serve more than 160,000 low-income New Yorkers, have been built or redeveloped. And in fact, it's those very places you talked about. So it's in those communities where there were abandoned buildings or available lots, we've taken those and redeveloped them. And there'll be more of that before this administration is over. I just also want to take note of something else. The conversation that's been had here some tonight, that I think is useful, as between affordable housing, having more affordable housing and having shelter. Right here, right now, in the Bronx, at the family shelter intake point, we have dozens of families who literally at this moment have nowhere else to go. We have done all kinds of things that folks have mentioned earlier with regard to legal services to prevent evictions. Tahira made good mention of some of those successes. We've expanded that by 10 times since the end of the Bloomberg administration, legal services to help folks stay in their homes. We've given 55,000 folks in shelter or at intake subsidies to help them move out of shelter or to stay in the home that they have now. So with all of those things, we still have people who will come here today and have nowhere else to be. So we really have to do both things at the same time, which is to create yet more affordable housing, low-income housing, as well as shelter. Folks complain, and I think rightly so, with regard to substandard shelter. So one of the things, among the things we're closing in this community are cluster units, which everyone agrees are not doing the job. No one disagrees with that. We all agree that being in commercial hotels is both expensive and doesn't do the job we need to do. We can't get out of those places unless we create shelter.
Sir, I want to say one thing.
For the board, there's a bunch of people who need to speak. All right.
My whole thing about this is that this has been an issue of homelessness for a very, very long time. And y'all going up here and doing now talk about you gonna be a family shelter that It's not either permanent, it's temporary. And my question is, when the year's up, are you gonna put them in those condominiums y'all built?
Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Valerie Figueroa.
Hello, good evening. So I bring you greetings from St. John's Family Center. I'm actually an executive director for a shelter down on Ralph and St. John's, and I do understand the opposition in the room because I live in the same community as you guys, but I do want to let you know that with the support services that are now being offered for families in the shelter, we're able to accomplish so much. We've moved over 80 families into permanent housing within the last year. And for the community, it's very important that we work together with the shelters. I mean, you can get on Lincoln Town residents, they have a group of community members who keep in touch with me daily. If there's anything that they need to address within my shelter, they call me. I have a relationship with them. We've built a relationship with the State University of New York where we provide free computer trainings to our residents as well as the community. We have a daycare, we have a youth build center. Everything is on in Crown Heights, on Ralph and St. John's. And so I just want to say that there are good things going on, but we do need the support of the community because we can't do it without you guys. I know you guys are upset, but I can tell you that with the support services that goes into the shelter now, we're able to accomplish the goal of moving families into shelter. And someone did ask specifically what happens to a year. The length of stay at our shelter used to be almost 19 months. The length of stay right now at St. John's Family Center is 7.8 months. And if you want to know what we're doing with those families, we do move them back into the community. We have to build relationships with landlords who sometimes, once we explain to them the programs that are offered and the benefit for landlords, they actually take our families in. We do relocate families out of state. I wouldn't lie if we say we didn't, but we do move them back into some of the same communities. Crown Heights, we moved some. Yes, we've had to move families to Staten Island. We move families into, the point is, we do need affordable housing. So I do like the fact that we've all been placing a lot of emphasis on that, but I can tell you with the support services, just recently, they incorporated social workers for many of the families who, I can tell you, they're all not drug addicts. They're people like you and I who used to live in communities like Crown Heights, Fort Greene, Beverly-Stuyvesant, who can no longer afford their rent, and they end up in a shelter. But it's communities like you all who kind of come to us and we work together as a support system and we get the job done. So I am in support of Samaritan Village because you guys have been doing the work for so long, but it's a tough road. It's a tough road. And I won't say, I've been doing this for 15 years, okay? So the blood, sweat, and the tears is not only for the community, it's for the workers who work endlessly with families who are hopeless and feel like they cannot make it when they come to the shelter. So it's our jobs to let them know there's light at the end of the tunnel. And so I know it's frustrating, but you have to understand, if this project goes up, we have to work together. We have to work together. So that's all I can say.
Sam Stern. Is Sam here? Raise your hand. All right. James Caldwell. Tim Caldwell. Oh, here it is. Next up, at this mic over here, be ready, Ellis Eichel. And before Mr. Caldwell speaks, we have a hard stop at 8:15. We have to be out of the building. So please keep your comments short, to the point, and order questions. Mr. Caldwell.
Yes, my name is James Caldwell, and I've been living in this community for, I guess, about 50 years. I also do volunteer work in the community. I'm the president of the 77th Precinct Community Council, but I'm not here in that capacity tonight. I'm here tonight because, you know, children watch television too. And when they hear statements like, well, we don't have nothing against the homeless, but we don't want them here. And this is hurtful to our children, especially to the black family. Our family's been broken over the years. Black man is not around because he's not making any money. And people's come such as Samaritan House that want to work with us and teach us, but we don't have resources. We simply don't have it. But it's not good when our children say, well, we like you, And they said to their parents, "But I thought they liked me, but they don't want me in the neighborhood." That's not true. You know, we are a community that always showed compassion. I remember when shelter was, people was living in houses that nobody wanted. And, you know, families were staying in there, no running water, no nothing, like a third world country. Now we have someone that's willing to work with our people. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. Over the years, our people have not received any help. And this is a great opportunity for the community. When people move into shelters, they put them in places that nobody knew would stay. And for them to get an opportunity to come into a brand new building, that will lift their spirit. So my question, you know, to everybody's here, you got to think about the children also. We need more compassion in our community. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and I just want to reemphasize what the council member said a short while ago. 70% of the 59,000 people who are in shelter are families with children. Of that 59,000, about 24,000 are children. I just want folks to keep that in mind.
Ellis Eichel. Is Ellis here? James Woods.
Good evening, everybody. I sat here for hours waiting to say two good things. After mass incarceration and living in society for over 50 years plus, and coming home in 1992 and still being homeless since then, and watching you guys repeatedly with your little housing programs, your little general administrations that y'all keep putting forward to the community, it is clear that the resistance has started. You all put on notice. If you're in office, you may not be there. Yes, you're right. I'm making sure of this. So for all of you in here that still sleep on the reality, yeah, we've been moved out of our communities. And that is due to your imperfection and your failure to unify and move them out of the community. So let's be frank and let's be blunt. I could go through this whole list. It's bogus. Your lottery system that you have put forth to actually identify people that need housing, show me 15 people that have actually earned some housing from your lottery system. I can't find it. People that sit in the house in the homeless shelters for a year or better, they will return back to the homeless shelter because they don't have the utensils they need to stay out of a homeless shelter. So therefore, you're dead again in the water. So I'm not going to keep repeating this over and over. The game over series was in 2012. This is the game over conclusion. You have been noticed.
Bernadette O'Connor. Bernadette O'Connor. Sam Cora. Did I call Sam before? Tom Lynch. Yeah. Oh, Sam, okay. All right.
This one work? I'll take this one then.
Which one is it? We'll take her right after Sam. Sam, you go ahead and just you know.
Yeah. Good evening. Doesn't work, Sam. I gotta get this one? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Sam Clark, a resident of the community. I've worked in this community over 25 years, social and everything here. I'm speaking here in support of the Samaritan housing, and knowing the support of the Samaritan housing. If you were here in school, and I bet you, if you ask the principal, how many homeless families are here? All right? This one. In District 17 alone, it's almost about 15% of transient children in the schools. You can ask yourself, what about that? She didn't. But I'm saying the principals are concerned. In order to give the family some semblance of community, a family being transposed to Far Rockaway, she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to bring the kids to the neighborhood that she can no longer afford. So I'm saying, while we are at it and we don't want this, and there are whole other people that come in here all the time and say, not in my backyard. But yes, when they got their apartments, they're renting out Airbnb, a lot of sanctimonious woman. You know what I'm talking about. But I'm saying, give this town a chance. Give them, don't throw the baby with the bathwater, man. Crown Heights, you got a better heart than this, man. We have a better heart than this. We can work with Samaritan housing and try to accommodate our families in this situation. It's not like the Bedford Army or Atlantic Avenue. You're hearing it. Support this kid. This is children. It's raining outside. You can be homeless at any time. And you come over there. Those who live in glass houses should throw stones, period. But this is a time for reflection, and for you religious ones, this is a time of Lent. Have for penance and community. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bernadette O'Connor, and I am the council leader for Division 252 PEF at Kingsborough Psychiatric Center. I know some of you may remember a couple months ago we were fighting the same homeless shelter with breaking grounds. You know, all of these things that you're talking about here, the same thing Breaking Grounds has said to us. So today we are here to present to you, and Beatrice McLeod will give you the information, the first-hand information about shelter.
This evening, PEF Division 252 stand in solidarity with the people of Crown Heights. We believe what affects you affects us all. As today, we were faced with the same problems and issues you might be facing right now. As you know, we have been fighting to start breaking grounds from opening up a homeless shelter on the grounds of Kingsborough Psychiatric Center. Unfortunately, we were unable in preventing it from happening. Breaking grounds promised the clients will be contained and not roam the streets, panhandle, or beg anyone they come in contact with. As you know, that is exactly what's happening. Recently, I spoke with some homeowners who were complaining how dangerous the neighborhood has become with the clients at the Breaking Grounds shelter, constantly on the streets throughout the night, begging and harassing the people in the community. As for the big trucks in the area, it posed a danger to the clients, staff at Kingsborough Psychiatric Center, and the community. Recently, someone almost got raped between the trucks.
Is there a question? Let's jump to the question because...
My name is Pat Baker, and I'm just going to wrap this up and give people a little bit more understanding of what Ms. McLeod is talking about. Yes, it is about the shelter. It is about
question, because we got to move.
how many more shelters are going to be placed in this community because, Reverend so let me speak. Since 1993, and the reason why this community is so opposed as they are today, since 1993, we have been hearing the same things. We would not have been here today if the plans that the city had developed for homeless shelters for people who are homeless had been a real comprehensive plan that really would have addressed the homelessness situation. And that has not happened. We've had people, agencies like Samaritan Daytop, and others that says, well, we'll place these people here and we're going to provide all these resources and services, and it never happened. So at this point in time, at Kingsborough Psychiatric Center, because it's a gate of a facility, of a state facility, that they had placed 2 shelters there. First one was in 1993, where the promise was that, oh, these people will be serviced, they will be found permanent housing, and they would not be a problem to the community. Not so. 2 months ago, they placed another shelter there. And the question is, once again, is how is the city and the state of New York at odds with each other? Because the governor is doing one thing with the homeless and the city is doing another. So it's been my experience that we cannot believe or not trust you all when you say that this is what we're supposed to have.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, my question is, you said you're going to give services. What type of services? Because the shelters that exist now, there is no services. You tell us at face value, but when you go into the real system, there's nothing.
Thank you. Jacob Damon?
So with regard to the question about, so how many more shelters in this community, I'm going to answer in 2 ways. So with regard to the comprehensive plan, we couldn't agree more that there had not been a comprehensive plan. In the previous administration, there was no comprehensive plan. But what Tahira said at the beginning of this meeting is exactly right, which the mayor announced in February, put out a 128-page plan that was a comprehensive plan, and he told the truth in that plan about what we intend to do. So I'm going to tell you the truth tonight that we have 0 plans to add any more shelters in this community board beyond those that were announced on February 15th.
So the question regarding the services, we are going, first of all, I want to open up to members of the community. We operate shelters all over the city. I get the pleasure of representing individuals in East New York, in Manhattan, in Queens, in the Bronx, in the hybrid section of the Bronx, in the South Bronx. We get the opportunity to help them, to provide service for them. So I want to open up to any member of the community. If you want to come and visit and tour one of our facilities, we would love to host you. We can organize it. We will open our doors. We run a very transparent process with our community boards and with our community partners. We just have to get the HS approval, and we can do that. So the services, comprehensive social services, we're going to have social workers, case managers, housing specialists, benefits specialists, child care, recreation, a holistic approach to everything.
Thank you.
So we're going to move away from the list now. Gentleman in the gray coat. Gentleman in the gray coat, you're the last one. We have to, the last question, we have a hard stop at 8:15. Everybody, hold on. We have a hard stop at 8:15. We're going right here. We're going to take the gentleman in the front, the guy in the gray coat, will be the last question. Thank you. Come forward. Your question.
I'm a neighbor. I live 2 blocks away from the proposed shelter. I'm an architect and urban planner for 25 years. So I think, number one, this shelter does not address the root causes of homelessness. What this community needs is more affordable housing. And with this shelter, you don't create affordable housing. And the affordable housing stock is eroding every day. So this is a great opportunity to put affordable housing in. We don't need another shelter. There was a temporary injunction today regarding the Bergen Street shelter saying that this neighborhood is already oversaturated with shelters. That comes from the judge. So you should look at that and you should have a comprehensive plan indeed, but don't dump all the shelters in this neighborhood. Create affordable housing. That's what we need to do.
Hi everyone. My name is Bella Corey. I work for Assemblyman Walter Mosley, who wishes he could be here, but he is still up in Albany. The Assemblyman understands that a lot of the notification with this was not effective, and so he's working on a bill right now that will codify the notification process for shelters and make it easier for communities to know when these shelters are happening so that no one gets blindsided like what happened here. While shelters are very important and the Assemblyman applauds the mayor for wanting to keep people in their communities, we can't deny that this is really putting a Band-Aid on a much wider issue. The community needs more affordable housing. That's something Assemblyman Mosley is very passionate about, and he's going to keep working on it. Thank you.
I am going to be respectful of my 2 minutes. My name is Donna Mossman, and I'm one of the founding members of the Crown Heights Tenant Union, but I am not here in that capacity tonight. I am here as a tenant who has lived in this community for 39 years. I am against this project, and I want you to connect the dots with me. We need true affordable housing for this community. Are you familiar with Evansfield? Yes. Evansfield lost over 1,600 apartments due to evictions over the last 3 years. That's over 5,000 people. That is why this community needs true affordable housing for the tenants of this community. That is why I oppose this project. It should be low-income housing for us who live here. Thank you.
My name is Ada Fox, and I am not opposed to shelters, but I am opposed to the policy that the mayor has been working with, spending all of this money on shelters and not putting it into building low-income and workforce housing. And this is particularly glaring when a few blocks away we're seeing hundreds of luxury apartments come in, which are only going to destabilize and accelerate the gentrification that's already happening. This shelter is going to serve as a Band-Aid and not even big enough to deal with the hit that that project causes. So I know that shelters, there's a lot of money that goes into building and operating shelters. That money should be put into actually building affordable housing that people can stay in. And that's what I support, and I demand that that is the direction that we go, and that's what we should be looking at, not building another shelter.
Hello, my name is Ted Logan. I've been living in the community for about 30 years, retired civil service, and disabled veteran.
Speak in your language.
I have no problem with people being placed where they should. The problem I have is why was it decided to put a shelter right alongside Medgar Evers College? An institution of high learning, and there's a high school there, Medgar Evers High School. I don't know any place in the whole New York City that has a shelter next to a college. That's something the black community and higher education in general. I don't know how you guys allow that to happen. Institution of higher learning to put a shelter. What are you saying to the community and the education people? I'm mad about it.
Hold on.
I want to quickly talk about Medgar Evers and how we would like to work with Medgar Evers. We know that there are actually students in Medgar Evers today who are homeless. We know there are students in Medgar Evers that don't have a place to go after their studies. And we asked the city, and Medgar asked the city, if they would be willing to allow homeless individuals who are students of Medgar Evers to live in this program. And the city has agreed to do so. So we really want to work with Medgar. We know there are students there today who really desperately need this kind of support.
Hello, good evening. My name is Asuma Java, and I'm a senior at Medgar Evers College. I've lived in Crown Heights since I came here in 2012, and I've seen a lot of changes since then. I used to live in Evansfield, and a lot of people from my community, which is the Fulani community, were evicted, and the place is getting gentrified, basically. But I want to know, someone already said it before me, did you ever consider the proximity of this shelter when you actually thought of it to become a shelter? How did the city deem it fit that other schools or CUNY schools that are prestige can have dorms and we, the students of Medgar Evers College, cannot have dorms? Why? Why is it that I'm standing here paying 82.69% of my income on rent, and I'm basically going homeless kinda if I can't afford this, and then the city deemed it fit that, okay, we're going to give homeless students housing, but what about the students who have an income but just can't afford living in an apartment? Why can't you give us something to live on and be thinking about, oh, we're going to help homeless live somewhere else to take Crown Heights?
We're right there. We're part of the community. Mega Echoes was built so that the community can be better. So why is it now you are just having a homeless shelter in our schools? In our school. Like, I find that very disrespectful. And I think that drones should go there instead of whatever they build a shelter on this place. Thank you.
Hello, I just want to make this short and brief. My issue with this is that, first of all, the people, the women and the children who go to these shelters, right, and I have a lot of experience with this, right, you guys are not helping them. You guys keep them down, and I think that what this project is you guys are basically using them to get rid of the middle class people that's here, because we're not going to be able, because we have to worry about our safety. A lot of these kids are horrible. The mothers are horrible, and send their kids out to do a lot of, not all, but this is what I think that the problem is in this project to get us out of here.
Thank you so much. No one else get in the line. We have a hard stop. Thank you for keeping your comments quick to the point.
Hello, my name is Brian. I just became a part of this community about 10 years ago. When I live in a brownstone that is owned by my aunt who has lived here over 50. And she has raised her children in this neighborhood as well. Now my problem with this whole situation is how are you vetting the residents who come into these shelters? Because I'm seeing, as the last speakers were saying, you have built this shelter on the same block as the college and a high school. Now, here's the thing that really concerns me. How are you vetting these people, and are you warehousing them? And if you are warehousing them, and you are putting the families with small children, yes, but let me just finish my thought. Let me finish my thought, please. But when you are housing these people, are you actually putting in families, or are you actually putting in are you going to put in men who you don't know came from, or are you actually putting people who have violations for sex offenders? What are you doing to vet these individuals coming in here?
Thank you so much.
And don't lie to him like you did on our meeting Wednesday night last week.
So with regard to your sex offenders question, we closely follow the state law with regards to placing sex offenders.
How?
The registry makes clear about who can live where, and we adhere to who can live where. So there will not be residency restricted sex offenders at this location because it's close to the school.
And with regards to your question about the vetting, so all families who are experiencing homelessness actually go through intake actually in the South Bronx at our PAF Center. And what we're looking for in criteria, we're really sort of clear in terms of if you have experienced homelessness and you don't have a reasonable housing option, there is no housing that's available to you, and you've been actively homeless for the last 2 years, that's what we're looking at. Obviously, what we've stated as it relates to this project, we're looking for families who actually, their communities of origin was actually Crown Heights. And we're hoping to actually have those families come to the shelter so that we can actually maintain the connection that they have with the community, their support systems, their families, their extended families, their churches, their schools, etc.
Okay, but there's an 80-20.
No. We got to take someone else. We want to get to everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So my name is Angel Seda. I'm a senior at Medgar College. I'm a public administration major. The one thing I gotta say is in class, this is not how I'm learning how government is supposed to operate. Right? It is just not. Dr. Plateau, Roger Green, they would be telling me this ain't right, and it's not right. So first off, we're letting the Samaritan Village kind of skate by, right? I did some research. So staffers at the Brooklyn shelter, right, are heartless when it comes to the homeless residence charge. This is Van Sickle Women's Shelter in East New York. There are allegations that a woman who was refused assistance during a medical emergency violated client's confidentiality and sexually explicit comments. East New York Men's Shelter, Four Bells Men's Shelter. A resident was reported saying, people in there treat us like animals and dogs. You got more drugs than you got food in there. This is your shelter that you operate. Pan Am, brother spoke about it before. You refuse the city to come in and inspect the violations. So how am I supposed to expect that Samaritan Village, right, is going to respect the community, respect Magdalene College, not just the college, but our daycare center in that college where the students send their children? We have to think about the effects and the management of these institutions. What should have happened is a true RFP process that DHS, right, you should have put it out to everybody. Nonprofit developers could have come up with plans. Students could have come up with plans on how to make this a solution for the neighborhood. So my question is, City Council member, will you push for them to open up the RFP? Make sure they do a transparent RFP process.
I believe that the greatest challenge that we have across the city and across every agency is a lack of transparency in the RFP process. It happens everywhere from NYCHA to ACS to the situation that we're in right now. We need to have a transparent and fair process, and I'm supporting my colleagues on the state level in terms of notice, but also in terms of how do we make sure who are the actual people who are sitting on these panels, who are making these decisions, and who are putting placement in our communities without our knowledge. So I certainly support that and believe in that. I think that one of the things that we have seen is that because the people that we find out on the back end don't actually come from our communities or look like people in our communities, that a lot of these proposals are granted without community-based participation or organizations.
Thank you.
Last question. Hello.
So yes, we do operate other shelters, as I mentioned, within the city. Benson Women's Shelter is our women's shelter in Samaritan Village. It's operated in the Eastern York section of Brooklyn. Forbell, we've operated Forbell for over 20 years, and it's our only substance use identified shelter located in East New York. Are there issues, are there concerns, are there things that happen? Absolutely, there are things that are going to happen. But what's really clear is our responsiveness to addressing all of the issues. There are media issues that some of them are true, some of them aren't. But we provide premier services within our shelter and for our clients.
We'll talk for a second about security, but I just want to say to the last gentleman that allegations that have been made, or substantial allegations, are regularly investigated by the city. They have a division that Susan used to work in, but it's consumer protection essentially, and everything is bid to be unfounded. Now, I'm not sure what you mean. Unsubstantiated allegations are exactly that. I mean, I can say anything I want, but if it's investigated and found unsubstantiated, then we should have an allegation. No one has ever been disallowed from this city to inspect the Pan Am facility.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Ingrid P. Lewis Martin, and I'm a resident of Crown Heights and a homeowner for in excess of 50 years. I want to thank, first of all, my council member for taking leadership. I want to thank the community board members for also taking leadership. I have a question, I have two actually. The financials. We're very curious to find out what it costs monthly to operate a shelter, especially this particular shelter. Correct us. It's our understanding that with each apartment, in excess of 130 apartments, maybe 136 apartments, is how many? 165. How many? 132. Okay, so I was right. So 132 apartments. Is it true that they will cost approximately $3,000 a month per apartment? If that's a yes or no, and you should know the answer to that, but you can't. Okay, so how much does it cost monthly? With the stipends,
Units would not be $3,000.
what would they be? We are taxpaying citizens and we have a right to know. So what would they be monthly?
As Dan said, there'll be a contract. We haven't actually negotiated all of those details.
No, that's unacceptable. How can the city and it doesn't know the amount that it's going to cost the city. We believe that it would cost less money monthly to give people affordable housing as opposed to a shelter. If you really want to upgrade the quality of life that an individual has, then give them a permanent place to live. There's absolutely no reason why the mayor of our city cannot turn this development into low-income housing. We have doctors who make a little bit of money, we have teachers who make a little bit of money, we have sanitation workers, we have people who work in factories, we have people in every field of life who do not make a lot of money and who are homeless. We need 100% low-income housing. You know, I can't see. You know, I can't see. It's unacceptable. The gentleman, you said that all the allegations against your institution was unfounded. We read in the papers that you were brought up on charges and found guilty of not disclosing that you had sexual offenders living in your premises. Is that true or not? So that's not true. We need low-cost housing. We need affordable housing. We don't need another shelter. We don't need to have a transient environment. We need to give people an opportunity to move and to integrate or to reintegrate into our communities properly. I was told that the mayor said he does not care what we do. Well, he needs to care what we do because we elected him. And we elected him to do what was in the best interest of our communities, not whatever we felt was necessary.
All right, so
I can't say
no. We have to be out of the building in 10 minutes. In 2 minutes. We have to wrap it up. Thank you.
This is the answer to what she wants.
Can you give it to us in 30 seconds? And that's it. That's it.
Regarding the matter that Ms. Martin just asked, public hearing in the matter of proposed contract between Department of Homeless Services of the City of New York and the contract listed below to operate a standalone transitional residence for homeless families. The term of this contract will be from April 1st, 2017 to March 31st, 2022, with 2 options to renew April 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2027. And from April 1st, 2027 to March 31st, 2032. Vendor address, Samaritan Daytop Village Incorporated. Site address, Rogers Avenue, 267 Rogers Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11225. We have the EP number, the amount, $43,392,736.
Now you tell me it will cost $43 million and change to give people permanent low-income housing. It would not cost that. It's a disgrace. And the mayor and his team need to be ashamed of themselves. We want low-cost housing. We don't want a shelter. Thanks, Dion.
I just want to know why the mayor likes tonight.
Why not Park Slope? One shelter there, there's over 10 lines.
We apologize again for shutting down the school here. P.S. message to those who are raising up the houses, but we have to be out before you go. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, and we'll pass it over to the councilman. Everyone, hello, good night, thank you.